Hello everybody, welcome to today's episode. Hook 'em and cook 'em. We're gonna spend some time in the kitchen showing you what we caught today. We got these beautiful redfish fillets. We spend a lot of time on the water. You guys see the stories of what we do out there. And today I'm gonna spend some time in the kitchen and I'm gonna show you the benefits of the hard work that we put in out there on the water. My special recipe today that I'm cooking for everybody is blackened redfish with the Pontchartrain sauce. It's actually a crawfish Pontchartrain. There's a lot of versions of this. You'll see recipes on the internet. I've modified what I've seen. We go out to restaurants, we enjoy meals at places, and I come home and try to duplicate that. So today I'm going to show you guys exactly what my version of that is. And it's always good to hear everybody's comments. We appreciate you guys stopping by and being a part of this. And a big part of that is commenting and giving me your opinions when you're done. Everybody has modifications of their own. The creativity in the kitchen is unlimited. You can go as crazy as you want. Today we're here. I got my nice apron on. I'm all dressed up, and thank you very much for stopping in. I've actually had the opportunity to spend some time cooking on stage. We have the shrimpery here in town, and we have celebrity chefs that come in and cook. We've cooked for, hundreds of people out there. And so let's go ahead on and get started. And the star of this show tonight is these beautiful redfish fillets. We caught these this morning, had a beautiful day on the water, drifting. These guys fell victim to the top water this morning. Unfortunately for them, they ended up on the platter. But fortunate for us, we're gonna enjoy these tonight. There's nothing better than catching your own fresh fish and cooking up in your own kitchen and sharing with friends. So thank you guys, and I hope you enjoy the recipe. Okay, the way this gets started, it kind of starts as a roux, but not a real roux. A roux is known more to be cooked until it has a lot of brown color to it. This one is more of a cream butter sauce. We're starting out with a nice little stick of butter. We use a half a stick of butter, a spoonful of flour, and we're gonna get that going, and just enough to get it melted down. And this all happens pretty quick. Once you get it going, you got to have all the ingredients ready to go. And I don't like to pause in the middle. I like to keep everything moving. We're adding a heavy whipping cream to the butter and the flour. And for the health conscious dining, this might not be number one on your list, but for deliciousness, it's absolutely the best. And amazing how much this begins to smell immediately. So I like to start with the butter, the cream, and I always throw the garlic in. We have some freshly chopped garlic that's gonna go in there with that. And as you move along, the trick to this is getting the consistency that you want. I don't deal with exact measurements. I don't have these things measured out. I kind of go by feel on how it looks as it's cooking. So we have the butter, we have the flour, we have the garlic, and a little cream that just starts to saute a little bit. And you want it to mix up, you want it to get nice and consistent before you add anything else, because the flour will clump up on you once you add the next few ingredients. This is broth, a little chicken broth that's gonna go in there. And then as it starts to boil, it's gonna blend in. You don't want this to get too hot. You want this to just cook enough to where it blends together, but you don't really want it to burn or cook as you would with a roux. And then you notice back here in the back, our side dish is actually going to be getting started. One of the challenges of cooking a dinner for everybody is getting all this to happen at the same time. And while we got this going, we're getting this prepared for the redfish. This is going to be the pan. The way this dish works is you're going to create the Pontchartrain sauce on the side, blacken the redfish in another pan, and when it's all ready to serve, you're going to set the blackened redfish on the plate, and the Pontchartrain sauce goes on top of the fish. Little Cajun seasoning is what's going to go with this. And the blackened redfish is pretty simple. It's just butter and some Cajun seasoning. The showcase is the fish. You don't want to overpower the flavor of that. It is very important that the redfish that you work so hard to catch is the showcase of this meal. Cream sauce is cooking down. We're gonna go ahead on, and here comes the celery. We're gonna add some celery, and then it just gets better and better. Next comes the onions. Lots and lots of onions. You can never have too many onions in that. One of the tricks to this, as you go along, you can add cream. You can add more broth. You can keep going until you get it exactly the way you want it. As it goes along, you might feel like you need a little bit of this and a little bit of that. And with the Pontchartrain, so you can cook the vegetables a little earlier. I like them to be crunchy. I like them to be obvious in the sauce when they're cooked. I don't like them to cook away to where they're blended in. So once this is going, once you get this cooking, once you get the cream sauce to the consistency you like, you turn the fire down just a little bit to where this simmers, just enough to soften up the onions and the celery. The consistency that you're looking for is much like the gravy you put on your biscuits, if you think about that. You want it to not soak into the fish, you want it to sit on top of the fish. You want it to be with the fish, but they're each their own individual thing. So you're gonna have the blackened fish, and the consistency of the Pontchartrain is going to be really thick. It's going to be thick enough to stay on top of the fish. And a lovely side dish that goes with the fish with any seafood dinner is always a little sauteed asparagus. And while this sautés, you gotta make sure you stay refreshed while we cook. And always cooking is part of the fun. We like to spend time in the kitchen. So cheers, everybody. Okay, so here's my modification to the Pontchartrain recipes that I've seen. We have this nice little buttercream sauce that's going, and it's beautiful. It's perfect consistency. It's just doing great. This is gonna simmer for probably 5 to 10 minutes to get those vegetables where I like it. What I add to it is a little spoonful of tomato paste. It's gonna give it a little bit of color, little bit of tangy flavor. This is where it starts to get good. So this tomato paste, it's gonna melt down, it's gonna blend in. As it cooks down, sometimes this will get thicker. An easy way to compensate for that is add a little more liquid to it as it's cooking, because as it continues to cook, it's just gonna get thicker and thicker. But every time, every ingredient you add is gonna change it a little bit. It's gonna get better and better as it goes along. Sometimes I even come back with a little more whipping cream. I wish you guys could smell this. Oh, it's just getting so good. And so at this point, I'm gonna turn up the fire a little bit. I'm gonna get this sauce going a little bit, not exactly to a boil, but it's gonna get very warm. And also one of the tricks to this is to keep it moving. You don't want it to stick to the pan. You want your sauce to stay very consistent. If you let it stick to the pan, it's gonna get a little lumpy, it's gonna be chunky. And then the final touch to this is gonna be the crawfish meat. When the crawfish goes in here, it's gonna add that seafood flair to it that just, it kicks it off. The butter, the cream, garlic, celery, and onion, and those in that, you could put this stuff on a cracker and it would be delicious. But once you throw the crawfish in there, it's going to just kick it up to a whole nother level and make it what it's supposed to be. It's all part of the combination. I mean, if you guys cook at home, if you do this on your own at the house, if you like to experiment and get a little crazy sometime with recipes, you understand one little ingredient makes the whole difference. Okay, so at this point, we just have the butter and the cream and such. I'm gonna go ahead on and add spice. And this one is real simple. The only spice I add, this is some thyme. And then we have the Cajun spice, which is red pepper, black pepper, white pepper. It's got a lot of peppers in it. And the sauce is gonna have all the spice in it. The redfish, whenever we get to that, it's gonna have its own thing going on. But most of the spice and the flavor is gonna come from the sauce. And this is what you wanna see whenever you get everything going together. As the vegetables start to cook down, the spices start to blend, everything starts to come together. We got the magic going on in the pan right here now. And now it's starting to get that color. It's starting to get that smell. It's starting to feel like Louisiana in here. But it's not Louisiana, we're still in Texas. Woo, that looks good. Look at that, look at it. See how it changed dramatically right there? Here's what it is. Whenever you start to see that little layer form on the top, you know you did it right. Oh my gosh, this may be one of my best ever. Look at that color. Have you ever seen anything so damn good? Butter, butter, butter. As this simmers, the asparagus is going. It's going to be perfect when it comes time to serve. Our sauce is absolutely beautiful. Got that on low simmer right now. And the final ingredient to that, when we drop the crawfish in there, it just takes a few minutes, maybe 5 minutes, and that is ready to go. So at this point, we start planning for the redfish, for these beautiful fillets that we caught today that we're going to enjoy tonight. So what I like to do with the fillets, I like to cut them into pieces, into small pieces, to where when you serve them, and it's actually got a lot to do with how it cooks. These are really thick fillets. These were some beautiful redfish that we caught today. So you want them to be cooked to the middle, and so that's a fine line. I mean, there is a certain amount of time where you want these to be burned on the edges, or not really burned, you gotta think of blackened. The recipe is called blackened, so it's done at a fast pace. So it's absolutely critical when the temperature reaches the middle that it's not too overdone. I've been to a lot of places where people serve fish and it's overcooked. One of the most common mistakes in seafood is cooking it too long. There is a fine line, whether it's shrimp, whether it's fish, crawfish, there's a point to where it's cooked and then it's done. You do not want to go past that point. So what we got here in the pan is we got a nice little layer of butter. It's mixed in with the seasoning, and I'm gonna bring the temperature up to medium high. I want this to be really warm when the fish hits the pan. All right, this is all coming together at this point. So what I'm gonna do now, crawfish meat. These are crawfish tails, all the good juices that go with it, and that is what is going to kick the Pontchartrain up to the next level. Anybody can throw some vegetables and some butter and some cream together and it's going to be delicious. The crawfish is going to give it the seafood flavor. It's hard to explain how the magic happens, but there's some magic happening in this kitchen tonight. Oh my gosh, look at this. Look at that. I'm trying not to slobber myself. Here we go. We got the Pontchartrain. It's just about complete. The only trick to this is letting it sit here, stay warm, simmer on a very low fire. We got asparagus for the side. It's on low. I'm gonna flip that, just kind of spin it around one more time. And my butter and my spices are perfect. And here comes the star of the show. It's time to drop these beautiful redfish into this butter. We got to make room for everybody to get in there. This one's going to go right here in the middle. We're going to push them out to the edges where everybody fits. And we're going to go ahead on and crank the fire up at this point. We want to get these guys sizzling. And I've had all the spices and the butter in the bottom. And then what I do next is I come along and I put a little bit on top. Little bit of spice on the top. Everybody gets a little bit. Nobody's left out. Oh, I really wish you guys could smell this. I hope y'all are enjoying this as much as I am tonight. Really appreciate you guys stopping by. Hopefully we share some more recipes along the way. One of my favorite things is cooking and enjoying the seafood. We live down here on the coast. We are absolutely spoiled with the bounty of the ocean. Redfish, shrimp. We plan to do some more recipes as we move along. I want to share some shrimp recipes with you guys. I want to share some more redfish recipes. And tonight, I do appreciate y'all stopping in for this one. And this one right now is doing really good. And if you enjoy it, drop us a like, drop us a comment, subscribe. Let me know what you want to hear about next, what you've done on your own. I like to hear what other people are doing as well. So one of the tricks to the blackened redfish is the timing when you flip it over. You don't want to flip it too soon. You don't want to flip it too late. So I like to spin it around. I let that butter run to the edges. I let the butter run to this edge. I want to get everything cooking all the way around. I always get a little overexcited. I want to flip it. I want to look at it. I can't hardly wait for it to be ready. But sometimes you just have to wait. At this point, once I get it simmering and it's nice and warm, I crank it up to high heat. When you put the fish in the pan, everything is going to cool down immediately. The cold fish is going to calm down the fire. So here we go. We got it going. We want that butter to roll around. We want to get all the crispy edges. At the end, everybody's fighting over the crispy edges. That's what everybody wants. I don't know why we don't just cut this into little bitty pieces and make everything crispy. Part of the magic and the mystery is knowing when to flip it. All right, so guys, as you can see, around the edges, it's starting to get that crispy brown. We're gonna get a little crispy brown on this side. We want it to be nice and even. I'm gonna calm the fire down just a little bit because it's getting a little crazy right now. Don't forget about this beautiful Pontchartrain that's just waiting to get on top of that redfish. Couldn't be better. So one of the things about redfish, it's really firm flesh. It is really easy to work with in the pan. When you flip it, it stays together. This is gonna be so good. This is so good, I'm gonna call my mama when it's ready. Hey, that's a free sample. Oh, it's so good. Ooh, it couldn't have been no better. The trick is just waiting to flip this. You want it to be crispy, but the big challenge of redfish and making it absolutely perfect is when you flip it. You do not want it to be overcooked. The worst thing you can do to your fish is overcook it. Like I said earlier, we have the vegetables. They're still crispy, they're still crunchy, they're still obvious in the sauce. I don't like them to blend in. I don't like them to become mushy. I don't like them to become part of the background. You want them to be up front. And a big part of this, it's not overpowered with spice. It's not overpowered with pepper. You want the flavors of all of those things to come out. And I think we've achieved that tonight. We're gonna do a little taste test. We're gonna get some approval. We could sell this on the corner. It's been a little intense, but the work is done here. It's almost time to enjoy the benefits of a long day on the water, catching fish, cooking fish, friends at the house this evening. Looking forward to the taste test, to the final judgment. The final step in presenting this is plating. Everybody enjoys a beautiful plate, and we're gonna put a couple of nice little pieces of filet on that. And like I said earlier, the trick to this sauce is you don't want it to overpower the redfish. You just want it to be its own part of the meal. So there you go. This is how I like to serve it. We're gonna go ahead on and do a little taste test. After simmering just a few minutes, all the things are blended together. We're gonna put that beautiful sauce on them lovely redfish fillets. This is it for our first episode of Hook 'em and Cook 'em. We hope you stop in for more episodes. The only thing left is a nice little taste test. We're gonna get some of these little crispy edges with the little Pontchartrain sauce on the side. Little crawfish, still smoking when it's best. Absolutely perfect. Couldn't have asked for better. Spend some time with the sauce, blacken the fish, the gravy, the consistency. I got no more time for you guys tonight. I'm gonna sit down and enjoy this. Thanks for stopping in. We'll see you next time.